Are you struggling to find buyers who will actually buy a home and close on their home? My name is Grant Findlay-Shirras. I am currently trying to buy a home, as well as I have worked with lots of agents in the past to help them become better agents. And we have Charles Ramsay here, epic managing broker for Oregon and top producer who has had lots of experience helping people buy homes and teach agents how to be a great buyer's agent. Because this is one of the issues in the market. Yes, there's low inventory, but buyers and investors are just sitting on the sidelines. And it's because it's a person who's gone through this. If there's no vision for what they should buy, how they can buy, if there's no clarity and confidence in a potential buyer or investor, then they don't take action. And it's up to the agent to help create clarity and confidence and certainty and a vision for why a person should buy this home or that home or move or invest in a property. And there is lots of reasons why people should buy today. There is lots of great investment properties out there. If the agent knows how to find these opportunities and connect and communicate the potential buyers with those opportunities. So that's what we're going to talk about today is how to be a great buyer's agent, because we all in the industry need more transactions to happen. And it takes two. It doesn't just take listing. And what we're seeing in my market is there's lots more inventory. There's lots more listings on the market. They're just not selling. And it's because buyers are just not confident. They're not taking action. And yes, we can blame it on interest rates. We can blame it on things that are out of our control and external to us. But that is totally useless as an entrepreneur to blame things that are outside of our control. We must focus on what we can control. And I have unfortunately been really disappointed with the agents I've worked with, because I know the industry and I know what it takes to be a great agent. And I'm just like, but I still want to hire an agent to help me in this process. And I'm just like waiting for these agents to help me buy a home properly. And I'm waiting for this great process, this great system, this great guidance, and I'm getting nothing. And so I'm really sick and tired of it. And so today I want to share all of my advice that I think agents should do to be a great buyer's agent, to get people to buy and invest in properties. What are your quick thoughts on this topic, Charles?
I'm thinking maybe I should move to Toronto. I feel bad for I've had so many clients who are like, "Oh, my last agent." I'm like, "Sorry, that's not everybody." So you need to find an expert, right? You need to be really careful who you work with. That's like three of the biggest problems you just covered. I just think people choose agents in the weirdest way. Like you wouldn't choose your financial advisor because they used to date your cousin. It's like, and you met him at a party. Or maybe you do. I don't know. That's not how I would recommend it. But you can buy a house. There's so many things to talk about here. The interest rate. Yes, it is now at the average where it should be. People got used to free money. That was great. It's always great, free money. But there's a workaround. So the trouble is you don't know the answer unless you're getting your advice and your information from someone you can trust to be your advisor. If you want to buy a house and you don't want to pay market rate interest rate, which is equal to the average over the past 100 years, get used to that. It's not going to change that much in the next 3 years. I predict virtually no change. So get used to that. But if you're working with someone who's connected, they will know that there are assumable loans available for a lot of houses out there. And I have a database where I can check and I can say, show me every house in Portland that a buyer can buy and assume the loan at 3% or 4%, wherever it is. Usually that's where it is. And if you can find someone you like, a house that you like, you can win both of those things. Otherwise, why are renters talking about hesitation to pay 7% when right now they're paying 100% every month? 100% of your rent money goes to oblivion. Nothing comes from it. You don't get a dime of it back. There's no equity earned. There's no pride of ownership. You don't have control over your basic home where you live. And yes, it might be challenging for a landlord to throw you out, but it's not unheard of. There are ways to get thrown out of a property, and or repairs aren't being made the way you want them to. The list goes on. Do yourself a favor and look up rent versus buy online, and there's a laundry list of things that comes up. Look at some reputable source like PMAR, your local association will have something on this. And I love helping people who don't know this, right? But how do you get the word to them? They're thinking the news is a good way to get their information. They're hearing that buyer's agents are going to work for free and house prices are going to come down, so they're waiting for that. There's a flaw with that logic, that people don't work for free, right? And you get what you pay for besides. So yeah, don't be.
So right there, the first thing to warm up people in your database, in your sphere, and in your area is to educate them. I subscribe to agents' things because I want to see what they come up with. No one is educating their database, because I'm in a bunch of them.
Yeah.
On what you said.
Yeah.
Interest rates are at the average. They're not high. They're at the average. And so this is going to be normal. Let's be real. This is going to be normal. And so now is probably the best time to buy, because as soon as people get normalized around it, they'll start coming off the fence to buy, because they'll realize, all right, it's over. And then the prices are going to be going up again. And so we're going to be hitting near the pits of the bottom right around now. And there are so many ways to educate people about why now is some of the best times to buy. It's going to be some of the lowest prices you're going to get before they start climbing up again. Same thing with assuming mortgages or transferring mortgages. Like, I didn't even know that was possible until I knew it was possible. And then that's something that you can't unknow. And then you start wanting to look for it and being like, well, I can buy if I can find a seller who can pass off their mortgage to me potentially. And not every seller can, but some can. And just to educate people about that might get people to be like, oh, well, if that can happen, then I will buy. And great. Now you just got a new client, and now you know how to find out what homes are right for them. Why renting is bad versus why you should buy a home. I've had no real estate agent ever try to teach investing in real estate, where it's like, hey, everyone, here is the current interest rates. Here's what you likely have to put down to get an investment property. And so here are the prices that if you can get a property, these types of properties under this price, you're going to be cash flow positive. So do you want to be an investor? Do you want me to find you homes? Like, just educating people about how to make money in real estate. Everyone knows it's the number one way to become a millionaire is real estate. It's the most proven strategy in the world, bar none.
Yep.
And no one is teaching their database how to do it and then encouraging them to start thinking like an investor and looking on the market. And so there's so much education to do that can help you bring people to buying mode. And then the bridge, okay? So there's ways to educate people to inspire them and get their interest and attention about buying real estate.
Yeah.
But the next step is to then be like, okay, you're interested in buying, you're interested in investing. Yes, yes. Okay, this is what I hear from agents. So what do you want to look at? What homes do you want to look at? And it's like, I don't know.
Makes me want to cry.
Oh my God, what are you doing for a living? Why don't you sit down with me? And you can tell the frustration where I'm like, why isn't an agent doing this for me? And I have to do it myself because I know how to do it.
Right.
But why is an agent being like, hey, why don't we have a half an hour? I have a really structured process for how that you can get clear on what you're looking for so that you don't waste time on Zillow and
That's
Realtor.com
been
looking
lost.
for stuff that's not for you. And so I don't waste time showing you properties that you're never going to buy. And you don't waste time looking at properties you're never going to buy. Before we start looking, and before you even start looking on the websites, let alone looking in real life, let's sit down and figure out our need to haves and our nice to haves and get clear on what we are looking for. Because once we are clear, it's so much easier to find it.
Yeah.
And then everyone's more efficient and no one guides. I've never had an agent. I've bought dozens of properties.
Yeah.
Never had an agent do that with me. And I'm having to do it
And
myself.
that changed with the internet searches, and people started finding their own homes, and realtors who are new, and there's a 87% changeover every 3 years. God help us, all new agents, they don't know that you sit down with your clients, and that's how you know what they're looking for. You can't text them, you can't Facebook message them. God help me, I get text messages from people, how much is that house? I'm like, who are you? What house are you talking about? I have more than one listing. Why would I mean, how about, hello, my name is, I found you this way. Can you help me? I mean, you don't, yeah, it's just, seriously, it needs to go back to relationships. Have a relationship with your realtor, someone you like and trust. Listen to what they're saying. Don't try and run the show when you've sold one house, right? Please God, don't hire me to be your consultant and then ignore everything I say. It's just painful. And then almost always people come around because they're like, shocker, I need help. So it's not just the agents, and I don't mean to be defending agents because there's a lot of agents out there that need better systems and could do a much better job. But it's about finding a team of people to help you, not just a good agent, but a good lender. I have a lender who last year, my favorite success of all, a woman who was taking care of foster children when the foster parents couldn't deal with them, 30 at a time sometimes. Just her. She never had any issues. She's an amazing, angelic person, super strong. Like, you don't want to mess with her either. She was working part-time, minimum wage. No one in her family had ever owned a home before. She didn't know anything about the process. We got her into a brand new condo, and it was in the 250 range, so like not luxury by any means, but brand new, 3-bedroom, 2-bath condo in a good neighborhood, walking distance to her work, and it changed her life. That only happens if you're working with an expert who has developed a relationship with the lender that they have on their team, who will trust them. Right? I said to my lender, we need to do this loan for this woman. I don't care what it takes. Please make it happen. I will personally vouch for her. I can guarantee you that she will never miss a payment. I know her. Make the loan. And yeah, it took some hoops to jump through, but you need to find someone who cares about you, right? If you're working with an online agent who you've never met, they don't care about you at all. They're going for low-hanging fruit, because the thing about that statistic with so many agents leaving the business every 3 years is that what that means is that 87% of the agents are either brand new or they're in the process of failing and they're getting desperate and they do strange things.
I love that. That's really good advice, because it's like it's like this is what separates amateurs from pros. The conversations they're having with their buyer, with their broker, with any other party required. It's almost as if agents are just like, okay, what house do you want to look at? Hopefully you know what to look at. And then okay, you want to see these ones? Okay, great. And then you show them, you're like, please say yes, you want to buy this. And you're like, do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it? Do you want to buy it? Versus being like, hey, let's have a crucial conversation around what you need,
right,
and what is nice to have and not needed. And let's not waste our time. And I ask you some tough questions to get clear on this, so that we find the right home. And then every time I show you a home. This is another thing that agents miss. It's a huge mistake agents are missing out on: reflection after seeing a property.
Yeah.
Okay, you showed the person a property. Assume it's a no, and let's talk about this property. Hey, what'd you like about it? What'd you dislike about it? Do you think this is a winner or no? And
Yeah.
it's this indifference around whether the person will buy it or not, and then having a crucial conversation around, like, let's break this down. Let's see if it matches up our list that we hopefully made before we went and looked at this. And if it's not, then we're getting feedback, because maybe the first time we made the list, we weren't really thinking clearly. And every time we look at properties, we get more and more and more clear. So we got to refix the list on
Exactly.
what we're looking for. And that back and forth communication and conversation is what's going to help a buyer get clear, confident, comfortable in making a purchase, and it's going to make you efficiently help a person do this.
It doesn't matter how far off you are when you start your search, as long as you get more clarity as you progress through time. And this is part of why I got into real estate. I had a realtor who drove me out of town to show me one of her listings that in no way matched what I was looking for. Zero. I'm like, where are you taking me? Are you kidnapping me? Are you kidding me? This is a piece of junk. I mean, I would never buy this in a million. I don't care if it was $1. I wouldn't buy it. So you need someone who understands, like, hopefully just the basics, right? Print out a sheet on every house you're going to look at. Have all the information with you. Don't like have to look it up on your phone and guess. And what if you don't have reception? Like, you're out of cell range and now you know nothing because you weren't prepared. Make notes on every house. Give a copy of that to the client. Nickname every house. Like, that's the house with the crazy stove, right? That's the red door house. That's well, there's a lot of.
Check this story out. So we were looking to buy, I think it was our first house, and we had these like young guys as our agents, and I was like, all right, we're looking at some properties. I want to be efficient, and I was like, can you guys make like a spreadsheet or something, so we know like which houses we're looking at and then which ones we've seen, because like I'm gonna get lost and figured out. And they're like, no, that's too much work. And I was like, what? I was like, well, how are we going to stay on top of which ones? Like, because I'm asking you, I'm spending time and wasting your time and my time after the fact, being like, did we see this one? Like, I'm kind of like, I'm losing track.
Yeah.
And because we don't have a good way to track it all, we could have a shared Google sheet. And so I made one because I was sick and tired of just like being lost. and he was like, oh, we don't use Google Sheets. I'm like, well, then give me something that we can both use so we can both see what the hell's going on. It was like, I couldn't believe that they were even against it. And I was like, why are you against this? This is so you can be efficient. And that I'm not like wasting our time following up being like, hey, like, what about that one? Oh, no, we already saw that one. When's that one booked for? Like, what day are we seeing that one? What time? It's like, you could just have it all one nice, easy to see place so that everyone is just aware. And then the other thing that I recommend agents use, whether you use a task management software to do this or Google Sheets to do this, like to share this with your clients so everyone can see the same thing and you're on the same page. And then when it comes to buying, we're like, okay, what do you think we should put in the offer? And all the time, they're like, well, what do you think? I'm like, God dang it, you're the freaking agent. And then I ask for, and this goes for both selling homes and buying homes, I ask agents for comparables, and the comparables I get back sometimes, I'm like, this is not a comparable. I'm like, what software? I like, and personally, I know what's happening.
Right.
Like, another person does it, and they just see you just sending a report, and it's like, dude, this isn't even a comparable. Why are you telling me that this thing sold for this? It's useless for me to look at. And I know what's happening. There's a software. There's many different softwares that do this. And you're just being lazy with putting in some fields to then say, show me comparables and sending the report, versus like maybe being more, depending on the software, spending a little more time to get a little more granular about the comparables. And then potentially, if the software doesn't let you do that granular of a search, doing the search and then looking through it yourself to be like, yes, no, yes, no. Because you're the expert. And when you don't take that extra time to do this extra communication, to do this phone call, to do this review of the stuff you're sending your client, yes, it's extra work, but it makes you look more professional, and it probably saves you more time in the long run, and it potentially even gets the deal done because then the buyer feels confident, clear,
Right.
comfortable with buying.
More than that, that's a skill you need to have as a professional. That's the trouble, is that when people go back to one of my original points, people choose agents in the most random way. You should have a total flat out expert helping you, period. And that's a skill that is one of the most challenging skills to develop. If you don't do that all the time, you're never going to get good at it. And you can't ask an AI to do a CMA for you. Like, okay, let me back up. So when I do market analysis, I actually do this. I have 12 different data points, not one from an AI, 12. So what happens is I do a manual CMA. I have an AI do a CMA. I compare those two. I look at what they bought it for. I add 5% a year. I look at everything online that a potential buyer has access to that influences what they think it's worth. I look at tax value. I think about what would I pay. I think about what would someone pay if their daughter was 8 months pregnant and lived down the street and they want to be nearby, right? All of those things, average all those together and a few more, and you end up with a cost per square foot that is very accurate. How is that wrong, right? And if there's something that's bizarre, like the tax value is a tenth of what it should be, don't use that variable. Use your brain to use the variables that make the most sense. Then and also don't use 3 comparables, use like 20, right? And that will give you a bigger data set to get a more accurate, more meaningful answer. And then have the conversation with your clients. Here's this house. How do you feel that? Is it better or worse than yours? Is it better or worse than the one you're looking to buy? Like, are you trying to spend the most money possible when you buy a house? Or are you trying to get a good value? Like, if you want the house that looks pretty and is like new, you're going to pay more if it's what everyone else wants. There's another option. Like, if you're working with an expert who's really well connected, in my case, I'm friends with a bunch of CEOs. One of them has a company that can do a 3D model of a kitchen in less than an hour. They can show you exactly what it would cost. You can choose all your finishes, all your appliances, all the materials. There's a material sheet. They drop ship all the material to the site at a discount. So you can buy a house with the worst kitchen you've ever seen and have your dream kitchen, and it can be financed into the loan. So you're buying a house that's $200,000 less than your dream house, but you're putting in your kitchen that you get to design and direct the building of. It costs half as much. So now you've got conservatively $50,000 to $100,000 equity in your house day one, because you're well connected with someone who understands the importance of relationships with people who are influencers in this realm.
Well, so one of the things I wanted to get into that we're going to have to save for the next pod is I know Epic now has even more benefits, and there's definitely, and over the last few episodes, we've talked about how to help agents become better buyer's agents, how to help agents become better listing agents, how to help agents make money in this market. And so on the next episode, we're going to go into how Epic helps agents do that and how I can help agents do this. So hopefully you guys got a little taste. The big thing is, in a great market, you really can, people want to buy, people want to sell, and you can just look at being efficient. In a bad market, you have to just discard working hard and just assume you have to, and just do whatever it takes to make a person feel confident, clear, and able to make a purchase, because that's what's required.
That's what I
try harder. So hopefully this was helpful, and we'll see you next time.
love it.